women's basketball, women's sports really, but women's basketball has been on the rise. And it's kind of like what Magic and Bird was to men's basketball. Like this moment, we kind of needed something.
This is that moment.
Yeah, and Caitlin's that moment. And I think a lot of it has to do with her logo 3.
Imagine having such talent. Your saved league turns against you. Caitlin Clark is more than just a celebrity. She is the catalyst for a change in the WNBA. However, she is receiving tech fouls, nasty headlines, and silence from the top instead of recognition. Subbird, a legend, is now shattering that quiet. You must listen to what she found.
And in my experience, that is the rule.
Yeah.
That's not the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
And it feels like the narratives that have gotten formed in our league, it's like the exception to the rule gets spun as if it's the rule.
Yeah.
It's like the small little thing that happens gets taken as if it's always happening, right?
Yeah.
Like one person might not like somebody, now the whole league doesn't like somebody. You know, you get it.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that, mainly because that has been my experience.
First, let's talk about the podcast that revealed everything. Sue Bird. Yes. On her Bird's View podcast, the 4-time WNBA champion, Olympic gold medalist, and undisputed great revealed something shocking. She made a strong left instead of applauding Caitlin Clark for breaking records and attracting millions of new fans to the game. She spoke a more profound and unsettling topic. She said that Clark's accomplishment was being purposefully minimized by WNBA PR teams. Broadcasters were instructed by official league documents to concentrate on league-wide themes and limit Caitlin pieces. That's crazy. Now consider why a league that is seeing a surge in popularity because to a single rookie would attempt to undermine her reputation. Sue likened it to her own rookie year, when she was encouraged rather than hindered by veterans. You could hear the frustration in the way she spoke. This was disappointment rather than bitterness. And you can tell it's a warning when someone like Sue Bird speaks up. It's not simply noise. What precisely is happening here, then? Things start to become unpleasant at this point. Can we use the race angle to boost mid-season ratings? A senior executive suggested during a behind-the-scenes WNBA meeting, according to Sue. It's more than simply poor PR. Playing with fire is what that is. The league allegedly attempted to construct a narrative, pitting black against white, roughness against grace, rather than merely allowing Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese to showcase their skills. It wasn't subtle either. Racial Arc Plot Strategies was the title of an actual memo that was circulating. It featured concepts like combining wording like ice versus grit with split-screen images of Clark and Ree, essentially making their play style and skin tone a media hook. Here's the problem, though. Angel and Caitlin didn't request that. I'm here to play basketball, not be a prop in a racial narrative. Reese even wrote on social media. Clark said the same thing. First, we are athletes. This lacked empowerment. Exploitation was what it was. You could sense it too. Fans became irate. The players became uneasy. In any case, the media ran with it. Who, then, gains anything from this kind of drama? Since it most definitely wasn't the players. Let's discuss the technical issues. On May 18th, Caitlin Clark slapped the backboard out of irritation and was called for assault. That's all. No yelling, no hurling, just a gentle tapping. Diana Taurasi, meanwhile, hurled her warm-up jacket across the floor and yelled at a referee, but she was not thrown. Not technical, just a heads up. Why are we here? Fans took note. Side-by-side video footage became viral on social media. Different responses to the same actions. The leaks then surfaced. On May 10th, referees allegedly got a document explicitly stating that rookies like Clark should be watched for unsportsmanlike behavior. Put simply, refer to them more. Consider yourself a 22-year-old child bearing the league's burden. And whenever you display a small amount of fire, it bursts into flames. It isn't discipline. Targeting is what that is. If Caitlin Clark, a person with significant media support, is experiencing that, what about other rookies that we aren't aware of? It begs the question of who is actually in charge and why they are so terrified to let a young athlete just be exceptional. There are devoted Caitlin Clark admirers everywhere. We're talking about sold-out venues, number 22 jerseys flying off the racks, and school children swarming to watch her perform. She brought in fresh money, fresh faces, and fresh energy. What was the league's reaction? Rather than expressing gratitude, they began calling her fans poisonous. Yes, there have been instances of online trolls going too far, but when does that never happen? The WNBA advised athletes to stay off social media rather than confront racism or hate comments. That is avoidance, not leadership. Megan Rapinoe and Sue Bird weren't amenable. Rapinoe stated on their podcast that racism cannot be eradicated. You face it. Bird continued. The WNBA has always been about community, so why are we ghosting that community now? Clark, however, continued to do what she did, collecting autographs, attending fan events, and never making fun of anyone.
Here's the question then.
At what point did enthusiasm turn into a danger? Let's discuss money. The WNBA inked a massive 10-year, $2 billion contract with ESPN and Amazon on April 20th. That's over 3 times their previous deal. You already know why. Clark, Caitlyn. Ratings have increased 240% because of her. The cause of the 85% increase in ticket sales. The cause of the $25 million in jersey sales in a few months. She is more than simply a player. She is a movement and a brand. They still made an effort to keep her back, though. An internal document called Safe Versus was leaked. The star power outlined it. Option A, give Clark your whole attention. Option B, balance the exposure while incorporating rivalry and drama.
Why?
Because they feared that it would become overly focused on her. However, how can the league expand without acknowledging its greatest draw? LeBron is not dimmed by you. You don't minimize Serena. You stoop down. So why is the WNBA being frightened? The events that followed were depressing and expected. The league played into the drama rather than Clark's greatness. Each serious infraction became a headline. Every technical foul became a video that went viral. Every minor altercation turned into Caitlyn versus the world. There is hardly a whisper between the game-winning shots and the record-breaking assists.
Why?
Thus, controversy appeals to people. Clicks, however, don't foster loyalty. The fans began to take notice. According to a survey of WNBA season ticket buyers, 42% of them believe the league was exploiting controversy to boost ticket sales. Sponsors began to retreat as well. Because they didn't want to be involved in the scandal, some people postponed Caitlyn-focused advertisements.
Consider that.
Spin has been benching the most intriguing rookie in years. All because someone believed that drama was preferable than power. It becomes even more genuine at this point. The league's division was made clear via a leaked audio recording of an executive meeting held on May 15th. According to one executive, she is our cash cow. We cannot conceal her. Clicks from conflict don't build long-term fans, was another retort. They couldn't agree on how to promote Caitlyn Clark. Do you draw attention to her talent or cause conflict? The voices of the new school sense the wave coming, while the old school tried to maintain equilibrium. This is the reality. A generational star cannot be treated like a supporting cast member. You construct around her, much like Steph did in the 2000s and Jordan did in the 1990s. The issue isn't Caitlyn Clark. She is the model. Why, therefore, do they seem to be afraid of their own success? Do you know who is actually affected? The people observing from the sidelines and in the spotlight are the players themselves. Angel Reese didn't request to play the antagonist. Caitlyn Clark didn't request to be portrayed as the protagonist. They never tried out for competition. All they wanted was to compete at the top level, play the game they love, and gain respect. However, the league spin machine had a different idea. It began to package their stories as though they were part of a pre-written drama series, complete with antagonists, heroes, and suspense generated by the media that didn't match reality. I'm not here to be a character in a rivalry, Reese stated on tape. I'm here to have fun. That same grace and maturity were repeated by Clark. All of my opponents have my respect. All I'm thinking about is my game. That is leadership, not merely professionalism. Young admirers should be exposed to examples like that. Instead of creating feuds, players concentrated on their skill. However, what did the league do in its place? They fueled the flames. They promoted stories that grabbed attention but failed to capture the essence of the game. They promoted conflict and division rather than acknowledging the fact that both women are groundbreaking talents who are rewriting the future. And it's lazy narrative, not to mention unfair. Instead of becoming heroes, it makes top sportsmen into plot devices, props, and headlines. Women shouldn't have their roles predetermined by a league that aspires to elevate them, way reality TV does. It ought to be uplifting them and honoring their identities and accomplishments on the court. Let's complete the circle. Sue Bird didn't need to express herself. She is in retirement. She has her rings on. She has a history. She has nothing to demonstrate to anybody. However, something clicked when she witnessed how Caitlin Clark was being treated, muzzled, chastised, and taken advantage of. She understood that there was now more than one participant involved. It has to do with the league's course. It was about who was given the opportunity to shine, who was given support, and who was kept quiet. The fuse was sparked by her podcast. She did